So, Kentucky Congressman James Comer expected to chair the House Oversight Committee. Sir, good morning to you. Here are the concessions that were made over negotiations: motion to vacate the chair, debt ceiling and spending cuts, committee assignments, vote on a border security plan, vote on a term limit requirement, budget controls. A lot of Republican conservative ideas in there. What took so long?
Well, that's a great question. The people in Kentucky back home this weekend, they were excited about the changes in the rules. They were the most excited about term limits. You know, this is something that Republicans campaign on every election, but yet we haven't had a term limits vote in the 6 years I've been in Congress. So I'm glad that we're going to do that. We're finally going to do the things that we campaign on, and I think that'll serve us well as we move forward.
Okay, so one of the things that was discussed is this, the possibility of the motion to vacate the chair. Meaning that one person can say, you know what, Speaker McCarthy, we think you should have to go. Let's call a vote. Is that really how it works?
It pretty much is how it works. I've said all along that's more of a gimmick. I don't believe that there'll ever be any serious threat to Kevin McCarthy's speakership. If Kevin McCarthy ever did something so bad that there would be a threat to him vacating the chair, I think we would meet as a conference. We would iron it out and take action accordingly as a conference. But there may be one person abuse that on either side of the aisle, but I'm confident Kevin McCarthy will be Speaker for the next 2 years.
Do you agree with the theory that's been expressed a couple of times since this big vote, that because the Republicans went through that last week, that it will be maybe easier for them to take on tougher votes and tougher challenges in the weeks ahead?
I really do. I hope that it was a learning experience for everyone. I hope it was a learning experience for the 20. I believe that they could have declared victory a couple of days prior to Saturday morning. I think we need to learn when to declare victory. I think it was a good lesson for McCarthy and the leadership team to understand and to make sure that they have the votes prior to a big major bill coming on the floor and before a deadline. So I think it was a learning experience for the entire conference, and hopefully we can learn from it and do better as a whole moving forward.
I think what you need to learn is you need to explain a lot of the stuff to the American people. A lot of people just don't follow it. You're trying to make the system better based on how you see it. Let me come back to that. While America slept, here is Kevin McCarthy.
It's time for us to be a check and provide some balance to the president's policies. Our very first bill will repeal the funding for 87,000 new IRS. That's why one of our very first hearings will be held on the southern border. No more ignoring a crisis of safety and sovereignty.
You're going to run straight on into a Senate led by Democrats. We'll see how many of these ideas are workable. But on the issue of explaining things to the American people, you walk down the street, how many people can tell you what an omnibus bill is? Right? But it was $1.7 trillion. And you guys were given 24 hours to read it. And you don't want business to go on like that anymore in this Congress. And if you explain that to people, maybe they come around to understanding why it took so long to get last week done.
That's a great point. And I think that if the American people knew what went on in the days before Christmas this year and how $1.7 trillion of their tax dollars were spent without any member of Congress fully comprehending the bill, without any debate, without any amendments offered, I think they would be outraged. I think they would be happy with the changes the Republicans made to the rules package. This prevents that in the future. The Democrats can be outraged by this, but this is the way it's going to be moving forward. The American people are going to get transparency from their government. We're going to expect the Biden administration to finally be transparent, so we're going to have to be transparent as well. And everyone's going to be held accountable in this town as far as the new Republican majority in the House is concerned.
One last quick question. What will be the topic of your first oversight hearing, and when will that be?
Well, as soon as we get the committee populated, our first committee hearing will be on the COVID funds. You know, we spent trillions of dollars in the name of COVID. There's not been a single hearing to oversee those funds during the entire COVID pandemic. So that shows the Democrats weren't concerned about wasteful spending. We know there are hundreds of billions of dollars that were wasted in the unemployment insurance extensions, in the stimulus funds, in the PPP loan funds, but yet no one's taken that seriously. No one's been held accountable. That's what we're going to look into.
Fair enough. Sir, thank you for your time. James Comer, the Republican from Kentucky. Thanks.
Thank you.